Welcome to Sunday School Online for the week of May 31st. I thought we could start off with a little review of what we learned last week. Remember, we talked about how God called Abram to leave his father's house and his family and to move to a different land. This would have been a long journey, but Abram trusted God and he left his family, his home, without knowing where God was leading him. But do you remember who went with Abram? Yep, here's a clue. His nephew Lot, his wife Sarai, and all of their servants, and all of his animals. And we talked about how God gave Abram some great promises. And did Abram get to see all of these promises actually happen? No, he didn't. But he trusted that God was going to keep his promises and that someday they would all come true. What word did we learn that means to trust God with what he says? Do you remember? It's the word faith. Faith, Abram had faith in God that he would do what he said he would do. And today we're going to see how trusting God can help us to make good decisions. But first, I have something to show you. I have two gifts. This gift, it's kind of wrapped in some brown drab paper. It's kind of a little flimsy. And then I have this nicely wrapped gift. Now, if you were to choose which gift you wanted, which one would you choose? Well, if you're like me, you would pick the pretty gift with the yellow ribbon. So I'll open it for us and we can see what's in it. I'll let you peek. Oh, it's just a rock. Oh my goodness, and it was in such a nicely wrapped box. I don't know if I really would like a rock, would you? Let's open the next gift in our boring looking paper. Oh my goodness, it's a chocolate bar, my favorite. That is crazy that the better gift was wrapped in the kind of ugly paper, right? Well, just because something looks good on the outside doesn't mean that it's really good on the inside. If we just think about how good something may seem to be, we might end up making bad choices. In our Bible reading today, we'll see how a bad choice led to serious trouble. Let's find out what happened. So if you have your Bibles, you can go ahead and grab those. And we're going to turn to Genesis 13:5. And remember, Genesis is the first book in the Bible, so it's easy to find. Genesis 13, verse 5. Do you have it? Okay, we're going to read 5 through 7. Now Lot, who was moving about with Abram, also had herds and flocks and tents, but the land could not support them while they stayed there, for their possessions were so great that they were not able to stay together. And quarreling arose between Abram's herdsmen and the herdsmen of Lot. The Canaanites and the Perizzites were also living in the land at that time. So what did Abram and Lot own? Yep, they owned flocks and herds and tents. Both of them had a lot of things, and they owned goats and sheep and other animals. They also had many servants and tents where they all lived. And these verses tell us that Abram and Lot had so many things and so many animals that there just wasn't room for all of them to stay in one place together. Animals like sheep and goats need to have grass and water. But what will happen if there are too many animals eating in the same place? That's right, all the grass would be gone and it couldn't grow back. So after a while, all the good grass was eaten, and there wasn't enough water for all the animals to drink. And this led to fighting between Abram's servants and Lot's servants who were caring for these animals. So could they solve such a big problem? Let's keep reading. Genesis 13, 8 and 9. We're going to read next, okay? So Abram said to Lot, "Let's not have any quarreling between you and me, or between your herdsmen or mine, for we are brothers. Is it not the whole land before you? Let's part company. If you go to the left, I'll go to the right. And if you go to the right, I'll go to the left." So what did Abram say they should do to solve this problem that they were having? That's right, separate from each other. Abram didn't want to have any fighting with his nephew, so he said they should separate and spread out. So Abram had a lot of land to choose from. I'll flip our picture here. Okay, there's Abram, and there's Lot. Abram let Lot choose the land that he wanted first. If Lot went to the left, Abram would go to the right. And if Lot went to the right, Abram would go to the left. That way they would all have enough food and water for their animals, and the fighting would stop. Lot looked out over the land and saw an area that looked like a beautiful garden with plenty of water. So Lot chose to go there. Lot decided to go that way because it looked so pretty. Kind of like choosing a present that is nicely wrapped. But wait, what was inside of that pretty present that we opened? It wasn't a very pretty thing, was it? It was a rock. Okay, let's continue reading in Genesis. Chapter 13 still. Let's jump down to verses 12 and 13. Abram lived in the land of Canaan, while Lot lived among the cities of the plain of Canaan. Abram lived in the land of Canaan, while Lot lived among the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent near Sodom. Now the men of Sodom were wicked, and were sinning greatly against the Lord. So where did Abram choose to live? That's right, in the land of Canaan. Canaan was the land that God promised to Abram. Abram worshipped and believed God. He trusted God and stayed in the land where God led him. And where did Lot move to? He moved to Sodom. What city did he live by? Well, he lived by Sodom. So Abram stayed in the land of Canaan, where God showed him. But Lot chose to go to the beautiful land right by a city called Sodom. Verse 13 tells us about the people of Sodom. Let's reread that verse together. Now the men of Sodom were wicked and were sinning greatly against the Lord. What were the people of Sodom like, according to that verse? They were wicked and they were great sinners against the Lord. They were very wicked and sinful. Lot chose to live in the land that looked best, but it was full of extremely wicked people who did not love God. So let's stop and think about Lot's choice. How did Lot decide where he should live? And what made him choose that land? It looked good. It was beautiful. He saw the best looking land and decided that he wanted to live there. The land sure looked good, but it was near a bad city named Sodom. Do you think that turned out to be a good choice for Lot and his family? Nope. So remember the gifts that we opened earlier? Did the best looking gift have the best gift inside? Nope. Just because something looks pretty or is fun doesn't mean it's really a good thing. So let's keep going and find out what happened after Lot chose the prettiest looking land. Lot moved his family near the city of Sodom. And while he was there, a big battle started near Sodom when 4 kings attacked. And 5 other kings went out to fight against them. But the 5 kings, including the king of Sodom, lost the fight. So they ran away into the mountains. While they were gone, the 4 kings who won the fight went into the cities and stole all the things, all kinds of things, and they captured all of the people, including Lot and his family. So this is terrible. Poor Lot was captured by the enemy. So let's find out what happens next. In Genesis, now flip over to chapter 14, verse 14 through 16. Okay, do you have it? When Abram heard that his relative had been taken captive, he called out the 318 trained men born in his household and went in pursuit as far as Dan. During the night, Abram divided his men to attack them, and he routed them, pursuing them as far as Hobah, north of Damascus. He recovered all the goods and brought back his relative Lot and his possessions, together with the women and the other people. Okay, so that is really amazing that Abram heard that his nephew was captured and he was able to help. He had 318 servants who were trained to fight. So they went at night and captured the 4 kings and rescued Lot and all the other people who were captured. God helped Abram save Lot and all the other people who were captured. And they even brought back all the things that were stolen. On the way back from the rescue mission, Abram met 2 men. Let's read in verse 18 of chapter 14. And I wonder what these men wanted. So let's read about the first man. Then Melchizedek, king of Sodom, brought out bread and wine. He was a priest of God, of the God Most High. So who was this man who went out to meet Abram? He had a very interesting name. Can you say it with me? Melchizedek. Melchizedek. This man was a priest of God, and he blessed Abram and gave him something to eat and drink. Then Abram gave Melchizedek some gifts to show his thankfulness to God for his help and all of his blessings. Now, who else came out to meet Abram? Listen to this verse and see if you can tell me who the other man was and what he said to Abram. I'm going to read verse 21. The king of Sodom said to Abram, "Give me the people and keep the goods for yourself." So who came to meet Abram? The king of Sodom. And what did the king of Sodom tell Abram to do? To give him all of his people and to take the goods for himself. The king of Sodom wanted Abram to keep all the good things he had got back from the kings who stole them. Wow, Abram could choose to keep all those nice things. But remember the presents that we opened? We know that sometimes nice looking things aren't always the best things, right? What do you think Abram did? Well, Abram knew that the king of Sodom was a wicked man, and he didn't want anything to do with this wicked king. So Abram chose not to accept anything from the king of Sodom. Abram made a good choice. He knew he didn't need to take those rewards no matter how nicely they looked. He knew he could trust God to provide for all that he needed. Abram knew that God is faithful and that he always keeps his promises. So he didn't need to try and get what seemed like was the best land for himself or take rewards from a wicked king. Abram trusted God. But Lot made a selfish choice. He chose what looked like the best land for himself. He didn't take time to think about what would be best for his family. Instead, he chose to move down near a wicked city named Sodom, which led to big problems. We all make choices every day, big, important ones, little ones, but whatever we have to decide, we need to trust God to help us to choose, because sometimes the things that look the nicest and seem the nicest may not turn out to be so good. So that's the end of our story, and I'll just read our memory verse for you if you want to memorize a verse with your mom and dad. It's Genesis 12, 1 through 2. It says, "Now the Lord said to Abram, 'Go to the land I will show you, and I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great, so that you will be a blessing.'" I'll read it again. Genesis 12, 1 through 2. "Now the Lord said to Abram, 'Go to the land I will show you, and I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you, and I will make your name great, so that you will be a blessing.'" I hope that you will be a blessing this week to your family, to your friends, to your neighbors. And I hope that you have a great week, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Okay, bye. Thanks for listening and joining.